ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Tuesday, May 12th. It is time for your drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. We've got a special show for you today. I'm on location. I'm here at the St. Mary's Center for Education. Coming up later on, and if you didn't get tickets, I am so sorry for you because you're going to miss out on what's going to be an inspirational night. Darryl Strawberry is in Huntington right now, and he's going to be speaking at the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Night of Champions. So, again, if you didn't get tickets to this, I am so sorry for you because you're going to miss out on a really special event. But we do have some good news for you. Darryl Strawberry is going to come join us here in a short bit, and we're going to talk to him about the message, what he's doing here in Huntington, what the Fellowship of Christian Athletes means to him. Also, later on, we're going to be speaking with Eric Brooks. He is the area director of the Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So they're going to be joining us in a brief minute. So until then, we'll open up our text line at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I've been here a little while now, and when they brought Darryl in, something was really cool. There was a guy who was here just getting back from infusions, and he didn't have a ticket. He wasn't. He was just here outside, and Darryl was really cool. He took great care of him, photos, signed some stuff for him, prayed for him. The gentleman has had health issues, so. Yeah, it was really cool to see that, and that's just kind of behind-the-scenes stuff that maybe you don't get to see about an individual. You see the surface stuff. You don't necessarily see the behind-the-scenes stuff where no one's really looking, and so just to see that was really cool, just to kind of get a better glimpse of who Darryl Strawberry is right now. So I thought that was cool. And I'm sure we're going to hear all kinds of stories like that here in the next few minutes. So, again, we're getting set up here now. The event's coming up later on this evening. And if you missed out on this one tonight, we'll tell you how later to keep an eye on opportunities in the future and why it might be worth your time to support the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And, of course, there's always something going on. The FCA has been involved and sport for as long as I can remember. So we're going to go over all of that tonight, but we still got time for you. And again, the text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So baseball action coming up tonight. We don't have Marshall. We've got Pirates baseball. Virginia Tech canceling. And the NCAA sent out a memorandum to talk about not canceling. So we're going to get into all of that here in just a few moments. But we're going to get Darryl set up right now and get him on the air because he's got a busy schedule over the next few hours as he is here in Huntington tonight for the Night of Champions for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes as he's getting situated and ready to go. I want to welcome everyone again to the drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Paul Swann, your host. And now let's welcome to the program a Major League Baseball legend, Darryl Strawberry. Also, I'm going to tell you right now, as a Cincinnati Reds fan, you terrorized me for my childhood. Just to point that out to you, you terrorized me as a child.
Of course, playing in Cincinnati was always fun because my best friend, Eric Davis, played with him, and it was always a battle going against him.
How fun was that? Just not only being in the league, but having a guy that you knew so well, and you weren't on the same team. Would you have liked to just been on the same team with him, or was it more fun just going up against him?
Not really. I think it was more fun going up against each other because we grew up together in Southern California. We worked out every year before spring training, preparing ourselves for the season to have a great season, and the challenge was always there against each other. And I hit 39 home runs one year, and I would have had 40. He robbed me for one at Shea Stadium. And I just kind of looked at him and said, dude, I could have had 40 home runs that year. So it's always a lot of fun playing with the guys that you grew up with. We played out in Compton together, and he was a shortstop. He batted leadoff. I batted third. Chris Brown batted fourth in the lineup. So we had a pretty good ball club, and a lot of us that come from Southern California, Eddie Murray and Ozzie Smith, and a lot of guys came from the same place. So baseball in California was really big, and me and Eric decided that we wanted to play at the major league level.
Your name, his name, probably together forever. It was, what a decade that was, starting out in the 80s. I mean, we still talk about those guys today like they played yesterday, like you played yesterday.
It was a good time. You know, they had Barry Larkin, Cal Daniels. They had some pretty good ball players over there in Cincinnati, and it was always fun to play against them and see the talent that they had. And of course, Pete Rose was my favorite player growing up when I watched baseball, and I saw him, and I realized that I wanted to be a baseball player because of him. Charlie Hustle, the way he played. He played on those good Reds teams with Tony Perez, Johnny Bench, and all those different guys, Joe Morgan, but he was the one that stood out more to me because his uniform was dirty, and the way he played the game was just the way you're supposed to play baseball.
Darryl Strawberry is with us, and he's going to be speaking later tonight. It's the Night of Champions, and you do this across the country. Growing up, baseball was your way out, maybe, is your way to make a name for yourself, to better yourself. And there have been some ups and downs, and you've chronicled that throughout your life. But you're at this point in your life now where you have this opportunity. You mean something to a lot of kids, even today. And, of course, their parents are telling you, hey, I tell my kid about how, when I watched you play. So your name has a lot of weight. So when you get an opportunity to come to an event like this, what's the room like? Because I know it's parents and their kids. They didn't watch you when they were kids.
Well, I never look at my name.
Yeah.
It has a lot of weight. I look at the name of Jesus more than anything when I come to this kind of point where I'm at in my life, being an evangelist and traveling the nation. Growing up in South Central L.A. and wanting to get out of there to better myself because I didn't have a father in my household. My mother raised 5 of us by herself. So I know the struggle all across the nation, what families go through and kids go through. And so you want to be able to encourage them, never give up, no matter what you go through. Life is a journey. We're all going to face some challenges. It's just not giving up and quitting. And I think when we can give that back to kids and bring them the hope, the hope is in the Lord more than anything. And this time that we're living in for this generation, because of all that they have to deal with, the outlets of social media and internet, we didn't have that. So many people are trying to confuse them of what they should be, and they should go to God and ask him what they should be more than anything. And I think I didn't have that growing up because I grew up in this dysfunction situation. And when you grow up like that, you wonder in your heart, is God real? And you don't find out until you have the trials and tribulations. And I'm grateful for everything that I've been through because it's brought me to this place that I am today.
Do you find with social media, that's a great point because you didn't have social media in your day. So that's where a lot of noise is today. That's where the kids go first and last. And so it's very distracting. I try to cut back on social media, even though I'm in the media business. And
well, that's different.
Yeah, it's different, but still the whole noise, echo chamber sometimes of it. Do you find that it's more difficult for professional athletes or for kids at that matter to kind of navigate?
I think for all of us, you just have to really select who you want to be and what you want to put out there. Are you putting positive affirmation out there to help people? Or are you talking about just worldly things that's going to destroy people? And I think that happens so much to our younger people. They listen to people that think, what is an influencer? What is he influencing you about? You are you. You have been made very uniquely by God, and he wants you to experience yourself and not try to be like somebody else. And I think too many try to be other people, and I think that's unfortunate. And they find themselves heading in the wrong direction. And I'm thinking we need to get back to encouraging our kids what's important. Programs like FCA is important for kids, especially kids in middle school, high school, and college, because the challenges are so much greater and so much bigger. And if we put some real principles down into them, they have a better chance. Not that they not won't go through some things, but they'll have something to fall back on. And I think when you don't have that, you have a tendency to just fall on anything.
Darryl Strawberry is our guest. We're at the Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes Night of Champions. Darryl is the featured speaker. Lots of opportunities for maybe first-time people to know who you are, kids, as we talked about. I know the full message will be tonight for those young men and even for their parents, but for those that maybe couldn't come to this event, what do you try to instill? What do you talk about that maybe someone listening to you now could take away from our program?
I really try to give the biblical principles of living, the right way of living for us. It's always been here. We just need to pick it up for ourselves and empower ourselves with it so we can have that transformation and that understanding and not be conformed to all these worldly things, because they have a tendency to believing all this stuff is just great and it's going to save you, and it's not at the end of the day. That's the sad part about it. So I try to carry the message of hope to people and try to be a beacon of light. Now, I've lived in the darkness. I know what that's like. I know it's real. It doesn't matter how much success you have, how great you are as an athlete, but who are you as a man at the end of the day? That's what it's all going to boil down to. And I think a lot of times people don't explain that to young people. They just tell them you can do this, but there's also, there's also storms of life that's going to come. And when you don't have a foundation in Christ, you're going to drown in the storms. And I'm just very fortunate that I didn't, because I had a wonderful mother who prayed for me while I was playing Major League Baseball, and I had a wonderful wife who led me back into the church. And then I would go through this long period of 7 years of sitting through discipleship to be able to understand the Bible for myself. And I think that's why I am the man that I am today. That's why I've been called to ministry and to bring love. Christ is love, and I think people need to really know that he loves all the mess of who you are, because he takes all of it and he turns it into his message.
Is it more challenging today, you think, in this day and age with everything we've talked about, all the distractions? Is it harder for you to get the message through, or are you finding that people are receptive once they get to hear you, and it doesn't matter their age, generation, where they grew up? I know growing up in the 70s and 80s, difficult times, difficult life for all of us, but still, I think we had it better sometimes in the 80s, much better in the 70s and 80s than we do today, with so many distractions.
No doubt about it. And I think people are receiving it well, because it's coming from a person who has had the life experiences, and they realize that this man, life is different when you look at him and you look at what he's done, from what he was as a baseball player and all the things that he went through and all the trials and tribulations. And now you go to his social media and you look at him, he's there to encourage you, there to bring, true hope to you, that you can too. You can, you don't have more of a, you don't have to be a victim, okay? Because most people in life want to play the victim role. I'm not a victim. I'm an overcomer by the blood of the Lamb. I've overcome all these things, and that's my message to other people. You can overcome. If I can overcome, he's the same God. He's waiting for you to help you to build your inside, not what we look like on the outside. I think that's what happens. Everybody looks at the outside of us as athletes and how great we are and strong we are and what we do out there, but they don't really know that brokenness is real. And once we get to that place and we allow God to heal us, now we're able to be a vessel for him and work for him. It's a greater job than I had playing baseball. Baseball was a great job. But once you take that uniform off, then who are you? And I want young people to be able to identify themselves, not what they do, but who you are.
Now, you could spend all year talking to young men, young women, anybody that would listen. And you could do that without the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Why is the Fellowship of Christian Athletes so important to you, and as an organization, how valuable is it today?
Because I believe it's the greatest mission field God has given to ministry, that has the opportunity to go on the school grounds and be able to bring the gospel. No other schools will allow that, but they have this platform, and they're able to reach not just athletes, they're able to reach students that are not athletes, and that's what's so important. Kids are important, more important than we focus on. We need to get back to focusing on them because their challenges are so greater than what we've been through. And this program, FCA, gives them that opportunity, gives them the groups that they can have together, the huddles that they can have together, and they can learn. And learning is the key. If you don't learn about God, then you'll never know about Him. And I think that's so important with how bright the kids are today, and the IQs are so high, off the charts. And if they learn this way of life, it's going to save them a lot of headaches. That's why I love it so much, because it's a better opportunity for them to play sports and be successful, be a student, and also at the same time have your faith and knowing who you are, because the challenges are there. You don't have to fit in. You could be a part of something that's great, that's going to help you, that's going to encourage you, and I think a lot of kids need that. Behind the scenes, I think a lot of kids are hiding, underneath wanting to be connected to groups on social media and different outlets to feel important. Well, I'm going to tell you, you are important, young people. God created you, and that's why you getting involved with FCA, you'll find out how important you really are.
Darryl Strawberry is with us. The Night of Champions is tonight. We're going to speak a little bit later on with Eric Brooks, the area director of the Tri-State FCA. But, while we've got Darryl, FCA is the reason why we're here tonight. It's very important. Do you recall your first interaction, when you discovered FCA? You remember that moment?
Well, I don't remember the first moment, but I just know I do a lot of them now. I mean, I've just been a part of this ministry because it's for young youth. And when I look at this generation, they need this more, like I said before, more than ever, because what's out there. There's too many distractions out there, too many negative affirmation out there, and too many places where people are trying to lure the kids into different things. And if they do, they get stuck. They can't get out. I remember coming to West Virginia so many times in this area with the epidemic with the opiates that were killing all the kids, and I would come in here, to try to bring faith in at the same time to help them and encourage them. And it's just been a struggle across this whole nation with young people. I'm trying to figure out life more than anything, not just playing sports. I mean, just all over for so many, New York, L.A., wherever, Ohio, I've been to all type of places, to be able to share with them that they can be whatever they want to be if they believe it. Not what somebody else tell them, but they have to believe it. Because, see, had I believed what my father said to me, I wouldn't have never been a Major League Baseball player, because the rejection is real and the loneliness is real, and it's not until you start believing it for yourself then you can achieve it.
If someone's not here tonight to hear what you have to say, but they want to get involved, they want to find that direction, what's the one thing you would tell them as we leave?
I would tell them connect with the FCA immediately. Get involved at your schools, whatever school you go to. I know schools all over probably that have the program, so get involved, get connected. It's a fun place to be, instead of being an outcast or being someone running with the wrong people and doing the wrong things.
It's great to have you here in Huntington. We look forward to hearing your message tonight. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
We're going to take our first break, come back. We will hear from Eric Brooks. He is the area director of Tri-State FCA when we continue on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. They could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor, call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation. Baker's Waterproofing and Basement Authority of West Virginia are now Groundworks. Schedule a free inspection.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
No matter where you are in life,
Mount West Community and Technical College isn't just about an education. It's a step toward your future. We provide the hands-on support you need with classes that fit your life. At Mount West, we know you by name because here, you're more than just a number. Mount West Community and Technical College, because you matter here. Visit mctc.edu to apply today.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue now delivers straight to your door. Wings, ribs, brisket, and more. Order online at wvbbq.com. Great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings. All without leaving your couch. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, 3rd Avenue in Huntington.
Big news, Cabell County. King's Tire Service is now open on Route 60 in Ona, across from Cabell Midland. For more than 55 years, we've been serving West Virginia with automotive excellence you can trust. We do more than just sell tires. Our ASE certified technicians are ready to handle all your repairs. From your daily driver to the heavy-duty demands on the job, our philosophy at King's is simple. We never promise more than we can deliver, and we always give you more than you expect. Stop by our brand new Ona location today, or visit us at kingtireservice.com.
Developmental Therapy Center's 25th annual Valentine celebration, Valentine in Full Bloom, is Saturday, May 30th at Willow Ridge Events. Enjoy dinner, open bar, silent auction, dessert dash, dancing, games, and the annual local celebrity lip sync battle. New this year, Rio Grande football is storming the stage with a high-energy dance battle to kick off the lip sync battle. Join them for an unforgettable evening supporting DTC's life-changing therapy services for children and adults with disabilities. Get your tickets today at dtchuntington.org.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We just spoke with Darryl Strawberry just a few moments ago. He will be speaking tonight here at the Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes Night of Champions. So if you're not here, I hate that for you because it's going to be an amazing night. But if you would like to get involved with FCA, I've got the person right here that can tell you how. And I hear he was a pretty good athlete himself in his day. Eric Brooks is our guest, Area Director of Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Eric, thanks for joining us, and thanks for having us tonight.
Yeah, we're really excited that you're here. This is something new for us, so we are glad to have you.
This is a pretty big night. Darryl Strawberry.
Yes.
He is a name still to this day. As I told him, he was terrorizing me as a child as a Reds fan with all the back and forth between the Reds and the Mets. But there are people young and old that are lining up to see him to this day. He is baseball royalty.
Well, he wasn't terrorizing you as much as he was me as a Pirates fan back in
I gotcha.
In the early 90s. So I had to share that with him yesterday when we picked him up. But, yeah, we've kind of had him on our radar for a few years. But he had been here, I think, 6 years ago. And so we were trying to give it some time before you bring him back. And so this is my first time for this region to have him. So we're really excited.
I asked him, why is FCA important? And he said this is the only opportunity for an organization like this to get on a campus, a school, to get to the kids, to give them the opportunity to hear the message. For you, how important is FCA and everything it does, top to bottom, from college to when kids are just starting out?
Yes, it's one of the few, it's probably the only organization, faith-related, that can show up and walk into a public school just due to the history of it. FCA has been around for over 70 years, and so the reputation is incredible, and it's great to be able to go into a public school and people trust. They know who you are. They know why you're there, and there's no greater mission field than the public school. And it's incredible what we're seeing right now throughout our region and throughout our state, and the youth right now are really on fire for Christ.
When someone is not that familiar with FCA, they go to a football game, probably maybe the most visible showing of something that FCA is involved. You know, a lot of student athletes get together after the game, and they'll get in a prayer circle, and that might be the first time someone will ask, hey, what are they doing, or someone who's not familiar with it. But FCA does a lot more. It's not just a prayer circle. There are so many events, there are so many programs that FCA does locally. What maybe stands out to you, or what are you trying to achieve here locally?
Yeah, I always tell people my favorite part, I love all aspects of the ministry, obviously because we're pointing people to Jesus, but I really love the ability or the interaction that I get to have with coaches. And we're as much of a coach's ministry as we are a student ministry. And so to be able to engage, equip, and empower a coach so that they can then do the same thing with their team or with their students in school, that's what makes this thing kind of multiply and spread, is when our coaches start really impacting the youth in the manner, because obviously staff people, ministry people can only be so many places, right? And so empowering others to be disciples who go and make disciples is what we're trying to do.
How successful are you with the St. Marshall University? I know there's probably a lot of involvement there, and I'm sure it branches out as well. Or how involved would you like to be with other programs that maybe you're not as involved in right now?
Yeah, there's a few counties surrounding Cabell County, kind of specifically, that we would like to be able to grow. That probably is going to take adding some staff. Kind of feels like at the moment I cover Putnam and Cabell, and then some schools that are in different counties as well. But kind of feel like I'm kind of at that point of where I'm at almost at capacity in terms of, if we add more, it's going to be hard to support, and we don't want to do that. We want to do this thing well, and in a way that honors and glorifies God, not just have a huddle at a school to say we have a huddle at a school. So we are looking and hoping to add, whether it's a full-time or a part-time staff person that could cover Wayne County, Lincoln County, Mason County, something like that. That because there are schools out there that we could probably within a couple days have FCA huddles.
Our guest is the area director of the Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Eric Brooks. Darryl Strawberry is speaking tonight. How hard is it to get a Darryl Strawberry or to bring someone like him? He's in such demand. How hard is it to kind of navigate all those hoops to get him in? I'm sure he would do everything you could ask him if his schedule allowed. So I know that had to be a challenge.
Yeah, we were able to kind of lock this down back in the fall. So we were a little bit ahead of what we normally do. Usually we're finding our speaker in January or February for a May banquet, and that's probably not the right way to approach it. And moving forward, we will probably be starting tomorrow thinking about who's our next speaker. And so I think because we were a little bit ahead of schedule when we reached out, that he had some dates that were going to work for us, that worked for him, and we were able to lock him down.
When you try to put an event on like this, I don't know if it's dependent on the speaker, that how successful it is, but what would help you moving forward? What do you need from people who are listening, or just people to join? Is that really the membership is the big thing right now? What would it be? Yeah,
if you're listening and you're a student, it's like, well, I wonder if my school, ask. If it's a Putnam or Cabell County school right now, there's a great chance. There's a couple Cabell County schools that we currently don't, but there are other ministries happening. So go get connected to that ministry. But if you're somebody that's listening and is like, well, that's right up my alley, and you'd love to serve, and we're always looking for board members. We're always looking for people that can volunteer their time and people that can get connected and share their financial resources and give it to something that they believe in. So we say at the time, we don't exist without the help of our volunteers. FCA staff people can only be so many places at one time, and our leaders inside of the school are what make this thing work. Without them, it doesn't work, and there's just not enough of us floating around, unfortunately. So we are extremely thankful for volunteers and for the people behind the scenes that don't get any credit but are leading our FCA huddles in our schools.
Our guest is Eric Brooks. He's the area director, Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes. The event tonight is the Night of Champions, and of course people are coming in now and excited to hear you and see you on radio, I'm sure. Tomorrow, you don't get a day off. You go right back at this tomorrow. Anybody, I know you're not going to commit to it, but anybody in the back of your mind that you're thinking, okay, we haven't had them yet? How big is a reach, for you?
Yeah, obviously we got to be within our budget first and foremost. Darryl was a guy that was kind of on my radar for a few years. So we've kind of, now that we've used him and he's here tonight, I kind of don't have that person in mind like he's the wish list. Darryl's kind of been that. So I'm going to need to sit down next few days and sit down with our board and think about maybe come up with a list of 3 or 4 names and explore, is it doable? And then just start kind of knocking on the doors and getting the info we need to see if we can make it work.
Is it sport dependent? Darryl obviously has a huge appeal, baseball legend. To this day, people know who he is. He's someone you hear his name, and if you're a sports fan of any generation, that's Darryl Strawberry. Mm-hmm. Do you look for sometimes people that are in sport that maybe someone would know, but you would go, oh, really? He's speaking of FCA. Mm-hmm. Are there people out there like that?
There are. There definitely are. There's a guy that he's not an athlete, and he's actually a former member of the Colombo crime family back in the 1980s.
Okay.
And has totally turned his life around and followed Jesus, and God has just done wonders with transforming his heart and his mind, and he's somebody that has been on the radar a little bit who isn't an athlete. So yeah, we kind of play that game of like, okay, are we stepping outside of our lane a little bit by doing that? Would it be the same draw as an athlete? But I'm a baseball guy, so I don't do it intentionally, but I've maybe favored baseball a little bit. Last year we had a former Marshall football player. 2 years ago we had Clint Hurdle, former manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So try not to be too dependent on one sport, because you probably do, shrink your crowd down a little bit of people that are interested. But it's more about how exciting, how interesting is that name, at that time, and is it some way that people are going to be like, hey, I want to go see that.
And this is your biggest event, year in and year out.
Yeah,
safe to say?
We do this, and then we do a golf tournament in the fall. October 5th, we're having our annual golf outing at Sleepy Hollow, and so they're pretty close in terms of. But yeah, the Night of Champions is probably a little more beneficial in terms of revenue that comes in, yeah, and people that attend for sure.
So if anyone wants to help out, be a part of what you do, where do they need to go?
Yeah, probably to the FCA website, and I'm not sure I've got it right here in front of me, but there's a WVFCA, I believe, .org page, and you can find all the staff in our area or in our state, which currently we're at, I think, 17 staff, and we continue to grow. But you can find each staff member there, what region they cover, and that kind of thing, and you could either get an email or there would be a phone number on there as well.
Our guest is Eric Brooks, the Area Director, Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Again, if you're not here tonight for the Night of Champions, you did not get a ticket. This is the best way to find out what's happening next year and the year after and year after. Get involved, and hopefully we can get Darryl back in a few years.
Yeah.
He'd probably be even more popular then.
Yeah. We do try to keep kind of this same week. I think last year it was May 16th. So we're kind of in that second week of May, pretty consistently. So if you are interested, I would suspect that we'll be somewhere around Mother's Day next year.
Looking forward to Eric Brooks, our guest. Again, the Area Director, Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We're here tonight at the Night of Champions. Eric, thanks for having us again.
Thank you.
And we look forward to it next year.
Yep, we're happy you're here.
More coming up on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
The Summer Fun Passport is here. Sign up now for this free passport and earn prizes all summer long. Head to the station's website or Facebook page. Click the Summer Fun Passport link and register. That enters you to win a 3-night trip to Myrtle Beach. Amp up the fun by visiting our participating local businesses. Check in on the Summer Fun Passport and you'll earn points to win more prizes. Check in with these businesses when you arrive. Jerks Pullman Square, Ichiban Hibachi Steakhouse, the Greater Huntington Parks and Recreation, Armory Steakhouse, Paramount Theater Ashland, Kel's Tavern, the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Gallup Police First Fridays, 9th Street Live, and Dog Dazzle. The Summer Fun Passport's brought to you by Tailgaters Carryout, Coons Corner Sip and Shop, and Kindred Communications. Get on this station's website, sign up for your free passport, and win all summer long with the Summer Fun Passport.
Imagine the perfect chicken tender. Crispy, juicy, for lack of a better word, tendery. Now imagine these perfect tenders at Wendy's. 'Cause they are. Wendy's new chicken tenders are here with delicious new dipping sauces like Wendy's Signature, Creamy Ranch, and Honey Barbecue. And they're so good, we even changed our name from Wendy's to Tendies. I believe that's what the kids call manifesting. For Tendies you're gonna know by name, gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's.
At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is now open. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Thanks for being a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Good to get out of the studio. It's fun to do this. We'll do this again more than not, hopefully, over the next few years. So we're excited to be a part of everything that the Fellowship of Christian Athletes does. So I'm happy to be here today. It was fun to talk to Darryl, just to get to know him a little bit more. There are a lot of people lined up. I mean, he's definitely a draw for this event. He's definitely a draw. So I hope that next year, somebody will come in that will be just as exciting. But this is a definite important organization. And as I mentioned earlier, you see the young men who they huddle up afterwards, and for some, you look and you go, okay, what are they doing? Or you don't know what that's about. That's sometimes the entry point for a lot of people. As more people are arriving here, sporting the Mets hats. I wanted to look at Darryl and just say, look, most of these people are Reds fans here. They're lying to you. But no, Darryl was a tremendous baseball player in his day, played on some fun teams. It was always great to watch the Mets take on the Reds. And if it wasn't for the fact that I was a Reds fan growing up, you never know. I might have been a Mets fan. There are a lot of them around. So this is an important opportunity for these young men and women to meet him, hear about him, learn from his message. Lowell Austin back in the studio. We appreciate him with us tonight. We are going to take our final break, and then we're going to get your text in. And again, that's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
I keep seeing celebrities posts, me in the 90s versus now. Well, the person staring at me in the mirror is definitely not the same person that could pull off bootcut jeans. Time creeps up on us so slowly. You don't see it until suddenly you do. Same thing goes for your bills. $1 here, an uptick there. It's a slow burn until one day you realize the price you're paying now is way higher than when you signed up. But at T-Mobile, customers had the lowest wireless bills versus Verizon and AT&T over the past 5 years. And with T-Mobile on their experience plans, you get a 5-year price guarantee, so you know exactly what your plan price will be for the next 5 years. So at least that's one thing that won't change over time. I can't guarantee you'll still look good with frosted tips, but T-Mobile can give you a clear guarantee on your wireless plan.
Lower bills based on Harris X billing snapshots from Q3 21 to Q4 25 compared to average AT&T and Verizon bills. Comparison excludes discounts, credits, and optional charges. Price guarantee on talk, text, and data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com.
Hey everybody, Tony Caridi here.
And Brad Howe. Tony, why the platform shoes?
Well, Brad, it's called Committing to the Groove. We're bringing back the retro vibes with Gomart.
Then hand me those oversized sunglasses because it's time to strut into deals on fuel, snacks, and more at your favorite Gomart.
All year, watch for Vinyl Value Days, Road to Rewards, and some far-out contests.
So go for good times.
Go for good vibes.
And go to Gomart.
Grab the Gomart app to find a location near you. Stay groovy, baby.
Save big money in your next project when you shop at Menards. Pittsburgh's ultra-advanced semi-transparent exterior stain and sealant in one can be applied to damp wood, allowing you to clean the surface and stain in one day. Save big on ultra-advanced wood stain today. View our entire selection of stains and accessories on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer to find all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
John Sang Ford, 195 Upper River Road in Gallipolis. Let's drive it together. JohnSang.com. Hoggins Usman of Mason at Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Family owned and operated since 1948.
Planning for a funeral is never easy, and selecting the right mortuary can be important. Family owned and operated for over 6 decades, our family has helped other families going through the most difficult time. Chapman's Mortuary and Crematory can help you plan arrangements today or offer a pre-need funeral plan in line with your intimate wishes. And now, we provide Huntington's only on-site crematory. Call us for a free consultation. Chapman's Mortuary and Crematory, serving the tri-state for over 60 years.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit MetroCommunityFCU.com today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue with this Tuesday edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Reminder, we have baseball action coming up. The Pittsburgh Pirates are in action. We were originally scheduled to have Marshall and Virginia Tech coming up. Unfortunately, Virginia Tech cancels on the Thundering Herd. So the good news is we still got baseball. Pirates taking on the Rockies tonight. That's going to be a 6:15 airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Other action tonight, it'll be the Nationals taking on the Reds. That's coming up tonight at 6:40. Later on, it'll be the Angels and the Guardians. That's set for a 6:10 p.m. first pitch. Yankees, one of Darryl's former teams, taking on the Orioles tonight. That's coming up at 6:35. Phillies are taking on the Red Sox tonight at 6:45. Rays and Blue Jays, say that 3 times fast, 7:07 tonight. Only game that I probably care about throughout the rest of the list here is, there's a couple. The Mets, they're taking on the Tigers tonight at 7:10. The Braves have got the Cubs tonight, 7:15. And the rest of the schedule, of course, doesn't interest me. Oh, well, okay, Bill Cornwell's listening, so his Dodgers are playing the Giants. Hey, that's a team that Darryl used to play on, and that's coming up at 10:10 p.m. What does interest me, though, tonight is what's happening in the National Hockey League and the National Basketball Association. Canadiens are facing off against the Sabres. That's coming up tonight. This is game number 4. Montreal leading the series in this one. This is a must-win for the Sabres to stay at least in range of finishing this series out. It could turn. It could go 7, but Sabres and Canadiens tonight, 7 o'clock. Later on, it'll be the Ducks and the Golden Knights. This one's been the real competitive series. 2 games apiece on the series. And, of course, the National Basketball Association, 1 game tonight, and that is going to be the Timberwolves and the Spurs. We've got that game for you coming up tonight, 7:30, over on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. And we're going to have the Cavaliers and Pistons tomorrow night as well. It's also going to be a 7:30 airtime on Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255, to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Texter just messaged in and says, hey, I'm going to show up and shoot my shot and try to get the photo with Darryl. I'm going to try to go to the meet and greet and then go back to the artwork. Okay. I don't know if you've gotten yourself in. If you're listening, I don't know if you've gotten yourself in. I don't know if I can help you with that situation, but we did not have this conversation if you're going to come in and shoot your shot. This has been fun so far. Darryl has been really giving of his time with everyone that is here at this event. And, before we went on the air, he was in the back room, and he was signing just every single ball that was handed to him. It wasn't an issue of, oh, no, okay, just do a few. It's like, hey, how many you got? Let's sign them. Let's do it. And, of course, look at this. We have celebrities walking in the door. I'm not gonna name names, but celebrities are walking in the door from Marshall University, and we'll just leave it at that. But he's been on the show before, and we'll say that just to protect identities. But, this is going to be a fun event tonight. And, of course, again, if you missed out, hopefully you won't miss out on the next event. And we're going to connect more with Eric Brooks, and we appreciate him and everyone here at the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the Tri-State chapter, helping us out, bringing us on board, and letting us talk a little bit more about what they do and how you can get involved. So we appreciate everyone joining us. All right, let's go back to the text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, like you, I was a big Eric Davis fan, but I always loved watching Darryl Strawberry. I mean, yeah, it was fun. It was fun being a Reds fan because Darryl was with the Mets from 83 to 90. He debuted May 6th, 1983. May 6th, 1983. And he had a single and 2 walks that day. And it was a 7-4 win over the Reds. I didn't bring that up. I didn't want to bring that up, but he's been terrorizing me ever since as a Met. And let me tell you, the ring is big. I'm going to post that on X in just a few moments. The ring is absolutely huge. If you've never seen a real one up close, the ring is the real deal. So, yeah, let me finish that post right now as we get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. All right, you can see the ring now. I'm in the photo as well, but you can see the ring. Just follow me on X to find out how big the ring really is. All right. I wanted to talk about, hey, texter writes in like, hey, look, I've got the autographs. Just sent me the photos of the autographs. All right, I didn't see you come in, and I'm not naming names. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting us in trouble whatsoever. So Darryl was cool. He absolutely was. Let me go back real quick to just what we're going to get into briefly. NCAA not exactly on board with just canceling games because there was a memorandum that came out. NCAA is warning baseball teams, stop canceling games to protect basically your RPI, your metrics. So the Division I Baseball Oversight Committee put this out, and you can't cancel just because of, hey, we're trying to protect our RPI. And if it's a non-weather related game cancellation, you better have a really good reason why you did it. So the letter went out back on Wednesday, May 6th. And, quote, it is not the intent or spirit of the game to adjust scheduled games in an attempt to strategically impact selection data or metrics. Also, it reads, the, quote, impact selection data or metrics is, of course, the RPI ranking is what we're looking at here. And I told you that Virginia Tech, I don't know their real reason. They said, I think I was reading that they were worried about their pitching rotation. But the letter goes out, and then some other schools cancel as well. Boston College announced yesterday it canceled its game against UMass Lowell. Said that the cancellation was to remain within the NCAA mandated limit for regular season competitions, if you believe that. Texture says, Paul, a canceled game should be a forfeit and a loss. I mean, if it's a non-weather related cancellation and you're breaking the contract, and you should be tagged with the loss. Just come and play the game. You should not overschedule. If that's where you're at right now with the unfortunate nature of trying to play the metrics, you don't cancel based on RPI. Don't schedule the game whatsoever. It should not happen. So Marshall doesn't play Virginia Tech. It's a cancellation. It's a non-weather-related cancellation. It protects Virginia Tech's RPI. The Thundering Herd doesn't have a game, so unfortunately no baseball for the Herd tonight. But for those of you looking for action and you're not here at the event tonight, you can, of course, listen to the Pirates. That's coming up. We'll have that for you, 6:15 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And, of course, if the Thundering Herd should make postseason and the conference tournament, we will have that tournament. We will have all the Marshall games. It looks like it's pretty much a done deal. But if Marshall gets in, got to be 10 or better in the standings, then the Thundering Herd will be going to the conference tournament, and we will have those games. That's going to do it for this edition. I want to thank our producer back in the studio, Lowell Austin. Lowell, for keeping us on the air. Special thanks to Eric Brooks, Area Director of Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes, for having us today here at this event. And, of course, I want to thank our guest, Darryl Strawberry, for spending a few minutes with us. His time is in a lot of demand right now, as there are lots of people lining up to meet him, be a part of tonight's event. And we want to thank you. Be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jack Carlson. There's a little over an hour left in the Mountain State to vote in the primary election.